What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Now, my voice is a little bit hoarse and it's very hard to talk. I've been bedridden for a couple of days. I had strep in my throat. It was really terrible. I had a really bad experience, but I'm feeling a bit better now. So I thought maybe, yeah, I could get back into the game, because there is a particular article that I'm looking at right now that is quite crazy. It says whiteness is a pandemic. And so I wanted us to jump into this article because it seems like this guy who made this article quickly jumped the gun before the facts and made a quick assumption. Now, for many of us who don't understand, or maybe we don't know what this whiteness thing is about, it is actually a campaign by Robert DiAngelo against white people. I mean, she's talking about this critical race theory thing that really actually pits races against each other. Instead of actually trying to bring people together, it kind of like pits you as a black person as an oppressed person, and if you're a white person, you're kind of like a oppressor, or you're a racist, or automatically you are inherently racist as long as you were born white. There's no objectivity when it comes to this. So basically, this was one of the slides that she put up when she was training Coca-Cola. She was actually paid $20 million to train Coca-Cola staffs to be less white. Now, this news was really big about a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people saying they don't want to drink Coke anymore, or what have you. And so this is what it means to be less white. This is what whiteness is. So whiteness is oppressive, arrogant, certain, defensive, ignorant. And to be less white means to be, more humble, listen a lot more, believe, break with empathy, and break with white solidarity. Now, to me these days, I don't even know what white supremacist is or whiteness is anymore, because they are adding new things to the list every single day. Life is becoming hard to be a white person today, but the real thing is that the people that are most affected by this whole ideology are black people, because they are training black people to actually reject things that could make them successful, ideologies that could make you successful, like professionalism. These are systems, these are methods, these are things that you could do to become successful. Professionalism has been branded as white supremacists. Getting to work in time, white supremacist. So the concept of time also has been branded white supremacist. Mathematics has been branded white supremacist. That's algebra. 2 plus 2 is 4. They've attributed it to white people, and as such it's white supremacy. So these are things that they have been using to actually brainwash and cajole people to make white people not love themselves, pretty much, and for black people to not love white people either. These are really divisive methods. So I wanted us to go into this particular article, find out how whiteness is a pandemic, and then I'm going to share my thoughts like I usually do. Please feel free to share your thoughts in that comment section below, because there is a lot to unpack about this particular article. There was a shooting in Atlanta recently at a massage parlor where 8 people died. 6 of them were Asians, 2 of them were Caucasians, and this article has been written based on the actions of the person that committed those killings. So let's get into this article real quick. But before we do anything, I want to ask you guys to show your brother some love by hitting that like button below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're yet to do so, as I do massively appreciate your subscription. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight into the meat and the potatoes of today's video. Now, the article states, I don't have much to add here today that hasn't already been said. Whiteness is a public health crisis. It shortens life expectancies. It pollutes air. It constricts equilibrium. It devastates forests. It melts ice caps. It sparks and funds wars. It flattens dialects. It infects consciousness, and it kills people. White people and people who are not white, my mom included. There will be people who die in 2050 because of white supremacy induced decisions from 1850. So in other words, he's talking about even natural disasters have been caused by white people. Like every single thing you can think of has been caused by white people. Melting of ice caps, caused by white people. Even though this guy drives a car, he uses a fridge, he probably uses the air conditioning as well, and he uses manufactured products like phones, wearing of clothes, and what have you. These are all things that are causing emission. So I suppose maybe he's a white supremacist as well. Anyway, he said, a line can and should be drawn from the actions of white supremacists who stalked into 3 Atlanta area massage parlors yesterday and allegedly killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian descent, to the relentless anti-Asian rhetoric pollination national discourse over the past 3 years, or over the past year. The plot thickens. The former president, the party of the former president, can and should be blamed for this and the sudden increase of racist violence against Asian Americans. For goodness sake, can't we just see maybe a situation that just happened, something that was sad, without actually trying to blame a whole set of people and focus on the actual individual, find out what his motivations were before we come to a conclusion? No, it's a white person that committed the crime. For goodness sake, this white person could be a Democrat, could be an independent, could be a Christian, could be a non-Christian. It could be anybody, right? It could be a non-believer. For goodness sake, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody who committed a crime like this is or should be associated with a political side or the other. It shouldn't be like that. This is how people who align with the woke ideology actually thinks. They want to align everything into a certain side or a political perspective instead of actually taking time to mourn what has happened. What happened was horrible. And I don't think anybody from right or left, whether you're conservative or you're a liberal, I don't care whether you're independent. I don't care anybody who's going to be praising this guy and saying, hey, you did a good job. You actually killed 8 people. Right? And guess what? He failed to mention that 2 out of those 8 people were actually white people as well. So those people didn't matter to him because they don't matter because they're white. So he failed to mention that. Anyways, he continues to blame aside. And he said, the line doesn't stop there though. It extends back 400 years and the tentacles clawing everywhere. White supremacists exist here in America, which is everywhere. So basically he's talking about how America is systemically racist. There are white supremacists in America, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. This is the usual rhetoric of, you know, the woke left today. And blah, blah, blah. Now, I said there's a line connecting this act of terror to the 11 people killed at the Tree of Life Synagogue in 2018 and the 9 people killed at Emmanuel African Methodist Epic Square Church in 2015. Now, for me, those killings were white supremacists, but you can't relate them. They're all individual lone wolves. They don't know each other. They were not doing that killing for a certain rhetoric. They were not trying to promote some certain party, or I don't think it was anything politically motivated. I just think that there were psychos out there, and there are psychos out there doing psycho things, right? But no, this has to be correlated. This has to be, you know, having its roots in something or in someone. You got to blame someone for something. Now, he continues, he said, but also to gentrification, to redlining, to racial profiling, to gerrymandering, to voter oppression, to mass incarceration. Now, mass incarceration, remember, he's trying to blame everything here on Trump and Trump supporters, right? To mass incarceration. But who was responsible for mass incarceration? 1994 crime bill sponsored by none other than yours truly, Joe Biden. But no, they don't see that. No, Joe Biden is spotless and Joe Biden has no fault, no white supremacist blood in his bone. He has nothing to do with associated people who are associated with white supremacy like KKK. His mentor is not a white supremacist. He didn't give a eulogy at his mentor, who is supposed to be a former KKK member. He didn't give a eulogy at the guy's burial, right? They're not white supremacists. They're not related to white supremacists in any shape or form. No, 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 no. It's just Donald Trump. So he continues. It says, okay, yeah, where was I? Mass incarceration, to the war on drugs, to so the war on drugs also is white supremacists, apparently. The war on drugs. Think about that. Now, I said to the subprime mortgage crisis, to vast disparities in both COOF deaths and who receives COOF vaccination. Whoa. Anyway, men and women who stormed the Capitol just went home and had dinner with their families afterwards. No, they did not. Majority of the people that stormed into that place that day, dozens of them were arrested. I think over 180, and there was the largest manhunt to hunt down as many of them as they possibly can. So you can see how articles like this can be misleading. A lot of people, especially black people, would read this and they would believe everything that was being said from this particular article. Now, he said, while we were still processing and recovering from what we witnessed, they were already back on their couches watching Criminal Minds. No, they were not. No, they were not. There was a lot of arrests that happened, and some of them are still in custody till today. So he ended by this, and this is the part where it gets a little bit crazy. He said, white supremacy is a virus that, like other viruses, will not die until there are no bodies left for it to infect. Now, he's trying to say that white supremacy has infected all white people. I don't know what he means by that. Until there are no bodies for it to infect. He said, which means the only way to stop it is to locate it, isolate it, extract it, and kill it. So, is white supremacy something that can be killed? Right? Is it something that can be killed? Or are you talking about killing people in general, or killing white people? Because sometimes some people could read this verbatim and just say, hey, this guy says go kill white people. Let's go kill white people. You never know. These things are risque to actually write about. And this guy right now writing something like this, saying that, you know, maybe whiteness should be killed or white people should be killed. I'm not saying that exactly what he's saying. People can read it that way. And right now, he's being accused of being a racist. He said, I guess a vaccine could work too, but we've had 400 years to develop one, so I won't hold my breath. In other words, if there's no vaccine, we should go and kill this thing somehow. How else are you going to kill a virus that can be killed without killing the people who actually are the inhabitants of the virus? I have no clue. So he wrote this particular article without actually finding out what the real motivations of the killer was. All he knew is that it is a white male that actually killed all these 8 people, and so because it's a white male, it doesn't concern me whether this white male had different political opinions, whether this person had maybe some crazy intentions in them, whether this person is mad. All those doesn't matter. What matters right now is that I can take this white man and link it to white supremacists. I can take white supremacists and link it to Republicans or Trump and Trump supporters and say Trump supporters and Trump are racist, white supremacists who are responsible for the action of this singular individual. But let's take a look at the story here from the Washington Post that actually expands on what the motives of this particular person is. From the Washington Post, the root accused of racism after peace declares whiteness is a pandemic. Now, in the story it says, Digital magazine The Root was accused of racism Wednesday after publishing an article declaring whiteness is a pandemic in response to Tuesday's deadly shooting in Georgia. There was a rush to conclude that the shooting that killed 8 people at 3 Atlanta area massage parlors were hate crimes after officials confirmed that 6 of the victims were Asian Americans. Investigators said Wednesday that the suspect gunman, 21-year-old Robert Long, told them he was motivated by a sexual addiction. Sexual addiction. Are you guys seeing that for yourself? They added that racism did not appear to be the motive. Long has since been charged with multiple counts of murder and assault. In the piece, Root senior editor Damon Young argued that whiteness is a public health crisis. It shortens life expectancies, it pollutes air, it constricts equilibrium, it devastates forests, it melts ice cap, it sparks and funds wars, and yada 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 yada. I read all this before, so I'm not going to go over it again, not just to extend the bloody damn video. So you can see how people can quickly come in a conclusion and actually project certain information for political gain and also to enrich themselves, because most of these people that are writing this piece, majority of them are being called out recently because all they are doing is using this to actually put their names out there, to actually get clicks, to actually get people to start reading these things. But they are causing a lot of damage because they are misleading people. This is intellectually disingenuous what this guy has done. He hasn't revealed that there were also 2 white people that died. The same thing has happened with the situation of George Floyd. We talk so much about George Floyd's death. Meanwhile, there was another person who died in 2016 named Tony Timper. Tony Timper's death was similar to George Floyd. He was knelt on the neck and he was held down by 6 police officers, one of which was a black police officer and 3 of which were Hispanic police officers. They actually even laughed at this guy with his face down on the ground. He cried out 30 times that he couldn't breathe. The 40 cam came out a year after this thing happened, but nobody talks about this. Why? Because it was simply a white and other races, people of color as they call them, that committed that particular crime leading to the death of this guy, Tony Timper. Google that name. And the unfortunate part of it was that the guy was the person that called the cops on himself, telling them that he hadn't taken his pill, that he was schizophrenic, and then he ended up dying. But there wasn't a noise, there wasn't no outcry, there wasn't no outrage about that particular person because that person is a white person. Since when did we get so vile, so evil, so bad that we don't care about the life of a person because that person's color doesn't fit the bill or fit the narrative? It is absolutely appalling where we are standing today. And we all know who is pushing these ideologies the most, or we all know the side that is pushing the ideology the most. When are we going to stop looking at things beyond the side of political perspective and spectrum and actually take a look at things from an objective point of view? Think critically about things and make our own decisions and judgments. When are we going to start thinking as a human being instead of start thinking as a political side? These are the sort of things that a lot of people are coming out there to say, but whenever they try to say it, they get banned, they get flagged. Well, we all know the side that is coming from. And the funniest thing is that those sides are the same people that are telling us that they care more about the minorities. They care more about those of us who are they deem as oppressed, even though we are not oppressed. It is a shame that things like this, people are trying to capitalize on it, make money from it. You would see Black Lives Matter make a huge lot of noise if this shooting was on black people, but they will not extend a hand to actually help black people. After they use this thing to prop up themselves, make money, billions of dollars, they do not reinvest into the neighborhoods where they need to help. We keep on saying these things over and over and over again. I can keep on talking about these things for hours because it is so appalling. We seriously need to change. We need to change. There is no argument about this. We seriously need to stop all this right, left, whatever. When things like this happen, we need to look at it from a human perspective and say, this is wrong. It has nothing to do with left wing or right wing. This is just absolutely wrong. This is all I have to say about this. I have more to say, but I'm going to leave it there for now. But I really want to hear your opinion about everything that is going on in today's world right now. What do you think about this article? Do you think that it is a racist piece against white people? Do you think that black people can be racist, or black people have been exonerated from being racist forever, ever, ever? Think about it. Let me know what you think in that comment section below. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, ding that bell for notification for whenever I upload, and do not forget to leave your comments in that comment section below. Once again, thank you guys for watching it, and I'm going to be talking to you guys again real soon. Peace, and Saya's out of here. Catch you guys on the next one.